What's up? What's up?
So, back in 2003, Black Brothers created one of the most successful comedy franchises in Hollywood history. It made nearly $900 million at the worldwide box office. It launched careers. It changed the horror parody genre forever. And then Hollywood took it from them. Without even making a phone call, this is the story of how the Wayans Brothers got robbed, what it tells us about creators and how they're treated in the industry, and why Scary Movie 6 dropping June 5th is about a whole lot more than just a comeback. Let's start at the beginning. Marlon, Sean, and Keenan Ivory Wayans created Scary Movie from scratch. Keenan directed it, Marlon and Sean wrote and starred in it, the Weinstein brothers at Miramax picked it up. I'm sure you remember Harvey Weinstein, yeah, that one of the few producers whose IMDb page reads like a criminal indictment. So even when it was picked up and even then, the Wayans got what Marlon called a crappy deal on the first film. But hey, they made it anyways, right? Beggars can't be choosers kind of thing. They're looking for opportunities to shine. So let's just get this done and we'll see what happens next. And so they did it. Scary Movie opened at $42 million in 1 week, $278 million worldwide, a record for a comedy director, period, I might add, not for a black director, which Marlon Wayans strongly rejected the "for a black director" qualifier because he believed it fundamentally diminished his brother Keenan Ivory Wayans' massive mainstream achievement. To the Wayans family, Scary Movie was not just a successful black film, it was an all-inclusive global box office juggernaut that outperformed major Hollywood comedies regardless of race. Then Scary Movie 2 followed up, $141 million on a $45 million budget, less in the box office than the first one, but yet still another hit. The Wayans had proven themselves. But here's where things get a little ugly, right? So after the success of the first two films, the Wayans asked for a raise for Scary Movie 3. A reasonable request. I mean, they had just delivered back-to-back successes. Give them that cheddar, give them that moolah, give them that doru. That's Japanese for moolah. I'm kidding, it's not. Don't do that, you'll look foolish. Basically, the Weinstein said no. And instead of negotiating, Harvey and Bob Weinstein did something else entirely. This is where it gets great. They made Scary Movie 3 without telling the Wayans brothers. No call, no conversation. Marlon found out, how? Can you guess? That he'd been removed from his own franchise while he was on Christmas vacation. Think about that for a second. A franchise you create, you write, you starred in, that's your baby.
You are not.
And you find out you're not the father. You find out your movie is being continued without you while you're on holiday.
Merry Christmas, suckers.
If you don't want them, at least tell them, hey guys, we're moving in a less Negro direction right now. But the pure disrespect to not even insult them to their face. And we're surprised that this man turned out to be a complete piece of S. So what happened when the Wayans were gone? The franchise collapsed bit by bit. Scary Movie 3, they brought in David Zucker, and though it wasn't horrible, did pretty well at the box office. The quality dropped noticeably, the comedy had shifted. Scary Movie 4 was weaker still, and Scary Movie 5, the first film without Anna Faris as Cindy, it tanked creatively and commercially. So I don't know if you believe in coincidences, do you?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
No,
Needless to say, the creative DNA that made Scary Movie work, the black cultural humor, the specific Wayans sensibility, the chemistry was gone. Hollywood had taken the brand and hollowed it out. And maybe this can work for, one extra movie, but this is a pattern we see over and over again. Black creators build something, get pushed out, and then watch that thing that they built to get run into the ground by people who didn't understand what made that thing special in the first place. Because what made Scary Movie work wasn't just the title, it wasn't just parody humor, it was the Wayans perspective specifically. That balance between absurd comedy, black cultural references, horror knowledge, physical comedy, all of that mattered more than I think Hollywood really understood. The studio thought they owned the machine. Turns out the Wayans were the machine. Now, here's the part that feels like a movie in itself, to be honest. The Weinsteins were gone, Harvey's in prison, thank God. Bob has been pushed out of Hollywood. The very company that took Scary Movie from the Wayans, Miramax, had to come back to them, shaft in hand, if you know what I mean, with a new CEO and a deal Marlon described as finally being comparable to what directors like Tarantino get. He didn't retaliate, he didn't sue, even though he said he probably could have won. I don't know, I'd have to look into that to be sure, but ultimately he waited, patiently waited, and now he's back on a franchise that grossed nearly $900 million.
Guess who's back?
As a writer, producer, and star, this man, and by extension, the rest of the fam, can do it on their own terms. And this is why Scary Movie 6 I think matters beyond just the nostalgia. It's a case study in what Hollywood does to black creators, extract that value, discards the people, and then comes crawling back when the value dries up. The Wayans built something from nothing. They took a script nobody wanted, made it a cultural phenomenon, and got a crappy deal and a silent firing as their reward. And honestly, Hollywood should probably be nervous about whether the audience still connects with the franchise now that the original DNA is back. Because if this movie actually hits, it's gonna make the old studio's decision look even worse in hindsight. And I'm kind of hoping it makes them look a little stupid and silly, to be honest. But we shall see. Now, does that automatically mean Scary Movie 6 is gonna be amazing? No, not necessarily, of course. Comedy is harder now, culture has changed, audiences have changed. Everybody's offended by everything for 5 business days every week online, so the Wayans gotta balance modern audiences without losing what made the original work, and that is not easy. I do not envy that task. And then there's also the nostalgia problem. Sometimes fans don't actually want new movies, they want the feeling that they had when they first watched the original. Not really necessarily a remake or a continuation or anything like that. And you can't always recreate that. But regardless of whether this film becomes a hit or not, I think the comeback itself matters, because too often Hollywood treats black creators like temporary labor instead of long-term architects. Build the wave, create the culture, generate the money, and then step aside while somebody else takes ownership of the legacy. What is that? People complain about black actors taking roles of white characters, but when we make our own movies, our own roles, the white guy, CEO, takes the movie. The Wayne story is one of the rare times where a Weinstein victim gets justice and a chance to reclaim their dignity after the molestation they had to endure. And honestly, that's probably the most interesting part of this entire story. But what do y'all think? Do you think Hollywood has actually changed when it comes to how black creators get treated? Or do you think this is another situation where the respect only lasts as long as the money does? And more importantly, do you even think Scary Movie is still gonna work in 2026? Can the Wayans actually bring back that old magic, or are parody movies just dead in the water right now? Let me know what you think. And that's it for the video. If you enjoyed, you'll love the next one coming up. But until then, like, comment, and share this out.